You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
We've worked really hard over the summer. I know it's difficult at the moment because people don't see 5-6 signings. But, myself, Alex, Steve, John, with John's sort of input, and I've had John on the phone most days, desperate to see who we've signed and when we're signing people, because I think, this year we're going to be pretty ambitious in the market.
Absolutely, and obviously, as you mentioned already, that as some departing players, you're going to have to fill those areas in the squad. But like you mentioned, behind the scenes, there's plenty of hard work going on in a market that's been a little bit quiet at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a quiet market. I think it always is. I think you want to do all your bit. I think that, again, the key bit is, I could have filled 2 teams and had them in now, but it's about the right players, and unfortunately, the right players. When teams don't want to sell their best players, and we want to try and take other teams' best players, where we can, and that's the aim, So I'd rather be patient with that. I think we're pretty close to a couple of things, and then a couple of other things are not far behind, and then it might then give us a little bit more time to wait for 1 or 2 areas and wait to see that second phase of players that always become available a little bit later in the window that are maybe better than sometimes the ones you can get early. So, but it's exciting. We're working hard. Don't think that. I don't want the fans to think we're just sat here and why haven't we signed players? Because we've had some very, very exciting targets, and we want to see if we can try and bring those over the line. Bit of patience. Sometimes I've got to hold my nerve. I've got to take a bit of flack, but I think it'll all be worthwhile when the players arrive.
You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Well, that voice, listeners, was, of course, our manager Gary Rowett being interviewed yesterday via the recast service. I couldn't remember its name the other day when I was talking to the chaps. I couldn't get the word reverb out of my head. That's a completely different thing entirely to recast. But Gary Rowett there speaking of the need for Millwall fans to show some patience, which is the story of my life, listeners. Joining me on a day dominated by the final departure of our talisman of recent years, Jed Wallace, from Millwall, I hope not too miserable a Millwall show. My 2 guests, morose Michael Avery. How are you, Michael?
Good afternoon, dear listener, on what has been an action-packed transfer window for Millwall, but they're just going in the wrong direction at the moment.
And woe begone Harry Warren. I couldn't get an H word that made an alliteration worth it, but I've gone for woe begone Harry Warren. How are you, H?
Horrified would be my...
Horrified Harry.
Horrified Harry would be there, I'd say. Jesus, fuck it. I tell you what, fucking the Millwall recruitment department definitely are members of the RMT union because they clearly are on strike.
They've got their work cut out. I do agree. I mean, the reason I played the quote, listeners, obviously, is we haven't got much choice but show patience, really, because we are now, I think it was 6 weeks to the opening day fixture. We'll come back to the fixture release day. The news of Jed's departure has overshadowed that by some distance. I mean, boys, we were just having a conversation off air about the departure of Jed. It's been expected for some time. And the rights and wrongs of the club's decision not to sell him, perhaps when the market might have supported that. I'm struggling with it because, as I've just said, one of the curses of age, listeners, is that you've seen it all before. And as good a player as Jed has been for us, he's by no means the best player I've ever seen in a Millwall shirt. And each one of those players in my time, my 50 plus years now, we've sold or they've gone at some stage usually for reasons that, as we're finding with Jed, is that we can't compete financially. He's gone to West Bromwich Albion, big news today. And I imagine Harry, to start us off, he's got a 4-year deal, probably on terms, I think I read double the money that he's on at Millwall. No Premier League interest. Maybe he sees West Brom as a better route to that promised land. How do you feel about the Jed departure, mate?
Disappointed. Totally understand why Jed has decided to leave. We haven't been ambitious enough as a club over the time that he's been here to convince him to stay. I don't think he wants to leave. I don't think that well, he obviously has left, but I don't think he wanted to leave because he's waited till the end of his contract. I think it would have been easy for him to demand a move in January and go to Forest or whatever and get promoted. I think he generally does care for the club. You could see that in the 2 last games of last season. But the reason he's gone is the reason that we can't stay. They're almost the same reason, is that we can't compete financially with these clubs to buy the quality of players. I'm looking at what West Brom have done in the transfer window already. John Swift, another fantastic player that will get you 10 to 15 assists in the Championship a season at a decent side. Jason Malumbi's their midfielder. They are built their midfield. They have 3 players in their midfield, and I compare it to a Billy Mitchell, Saville, and Evans midfield, and I know which one I'd rather have. So, I know people are saying where we finished last season compared to West Brom. West Brom will not be as bad as they were last season again. And we won't be as good as we were last season because we don't have 20-odd goals combined with his goals and assists that Jeb Wallace provided and whatever Afobe provided and name anyone else. We are remarkably weaker without Jeb Wallace, and that is a worry.
I agree, leaves a major hole. I mean, Michael, departure of Jed, it's not been unexpected. It's been coming for some time. It does still have a slightly gutty feeling to it, doesn't it? It's a reminder of our status in the Championship division, I think, in some ways.
Yeah, and do you know what it's like? It's like you see when you see the stories of like the sort of couples who are sort of struggling to sort of keep the relationship going, and it's going to end, but when you do finally decide to take the plunge and go, there is that little tinge of sadness, even though it's there. I mean, I'm not using the example of
I'm trying to think of some celebrity examples here.
Yeah.
I'm going down the Love Island route now, but anyway,
But yes, for your daily dose of Love Island, dear listener, Acton Love Island.
I really hope that Kim Jong Il or missile that's been mishandled ends up on that fucking island.
I'll tell you what, ours wouldn't be Acton Love Island, it'd be Acton Isle of Sheppey, wouldn't it? But no, just
Lansdown on sea.
Yeah, but no, to go back to it, I know Ryan's made the point online, and he does make the good point that some of the clubs who were interested in Jedi, even as far as Besiktas, I know you can question the integrity of the Turkish division, but it may not have been the best one with the potential offers he had, i.e. Forest, that everyone was talking about. But it's like we say, Nick, like in the next 5 years, who's going to be more likely to be promoted? Us or West Brom? Let's put the cards on the table.
Yeah, West Brom will be more likely, won't they?
Yeah, and the difference is, like Harry said there, and to touch on what you've said before, Nick, that Millwall play that sort of cup-style football, yeah? Where, it's all 100 miles an hour, but it gets sussed out quite quickly. So where Millwall will have one good season out of every, say, 3 or 4, you can argue that seasons for us have been good, like recently under Rowett, because we've not been under any real threat of relegation. But I'm talking promotion. West Brom's the other side of the coin. Out of 5 seasons, they may have one bad season like they had last year, but then they learn from it, rebuild, and they go on. Steve Bruce has taken a lot of stick since he's taken the job. A lot of people say he's obviously a bit past it and all that. Yes, time will tell, but he's also a manager who knows how to get promoted from this division. He's also a manager who's got experience at the high level with bigger teams. And West Brom have got more appeal if you're a player and you want to join there than Millwall. There's nothing you can do about that. How I sort of see it similar to a lot of people are giving Jed stick because it wasn't the Premier League move that he spoke about, or the sort of move where he was going to go on to maybe playing Champions League for 6 and all this. It's a bit like the sort of poor man's Gareth Barry when he left Aston Villa to go to Man City for me, in the sense that when Barry left Villa, he was like the man big team doing well. He took that. I know there was more money at Man City, but when he joined Man City, everyone was like, it's a bit of a sideways, maybe sort of down step compared to where he was. With Wallace, he may not be leaving sort of like a team as big as Villa or anything like that, but he has joined a team who finished lower than Millwall, but he could be the player that they build their entire team around, and he could be the catalyst to the project that gets them into the Premier League. So that could be more appealing than being at Millwall, but that's just my thoughts.
I think also, Harry, I've seen stuff online. You read so much nonsense on Twitter, and so, honestly, people saying, he's gone chasing the money. Well, I'd say to all of us on this group, I'd say to every listener, who doesn't chase the money? Harry, if someone said to you, you can earn double your money by going to a plant in the Midlands, you'd have to think quite hard. I mean, when the number of zeros that will be involved on the end of these numbers that the footballers are playing for, who amongst us would not go for double money to another alternative employer? I don't hold that against Jed, and I don't actually hold it the way it's turned out against Millwall in some ways. I thought we might discuss the point I think Michael's made it already about how he could have been sold in January and we could have got some money for him at that point. But I remember reading plenty of comment online about how we never go for it, we're never ambitious. Why are we selling our best player when we're still in with a shout of a run at the playoffs? The club can't win because they've gambled, and we've got beat on this one because we kept Jed and now we're having to let him go for nothing when I don't know how many millions he might have fetched on the market. But if we'd have sold him in January, we don't know how that would have turned out, but then they would have got slaughtered for selling our best asset in January. I personally believe, Harry, and I'm interested in know what you both think on this. I'll start with you, Harry, but I think Ryan's made this point, and I think Aaron, we have to be more ruthless when we're at the top of the market. When we have our assets at the top of their value, we've got to start becoming ruthless. And we're not as a club. We are sentimental. We stick with our favourites. We want them all back again. We're like Millwall family. We want cuddles.
We are a family. We are a family, and we forget that it's a business. We think it's your Saturday side on a Sunday where you know everyone, you know what everyone's going
Mates.
through, and if there's a death in their family, you're there for them. All this kind of stuff, and that's great when it works. But the downside of that, as you said, is when we sell players in the market. Look at Romeo, right? Look at how much money we've lost on Romeo, because Romeo could have gone for 2 or 3, 4 million at the top of his game.
At the top of his game, yeah.
Look at how much money we've lost on Wallace that he could have gone for 7, 8 million. Look at the Savile deals one where it's ended up working for us. He went for 8 and's come back for nothing, basically. So there is the yin and yang of that. But yeah, we're like if Delboy and Rodney went into the stock market. We are literally like Delboy and Rodney on the first day on the trading floor and have literally bought some second-hand broken lawnmowers. That is literally what we are, because we don't know what we're doing. We don't know when we have assets to sell. The club goes, fucking hell, we'll hang on to these. They sort of treat them, like the families cherish silver, and that's not really how you build. That's not how you get more silver. That's you end up with what you've got, and eventually, they're not. Jeb Wallace will not be a football player forever. He will not be 24, 25 like he was forever. He will be 29, 30 and looking for a last pay deal. And Millwall are not the place to come for your last ever pay deal. Millwall are the place you build your name and move on from. That is unfortunate. It is a fact of life. And some of the comments, and I'll touch upon what you say, because it is fucking nonsense. If you're under the age of 25, right, this happens a lot. I'm going to tell you, the side that I grew up watching had a midfield of Stephen Reid, Paul Ifill, Tim Cahill, fucking Darren Wall, Lawrence Dyche, Nethercott. I'm saying names that Harris, fucking Wise. These are all players that were in my first era Millwall. They all left. We got fucking relegated. We ended up with Dave Tuttle as manager. It's not that bad yet. I'm warning you, it has the potential to be that bad, because I see 2005 written in this fucking
woe begone Warren. Get him off the stream. Woe begone Warren.
No. But you're sitting there and say, because if you are a player in that group, we've all been at workplaces, right? When the person that does all the work and the person that gets everyone going goes, it is really hard for another leader to come out of that group. And we have absolutely fucking no leadership in that side at the moment. There is not one leader.
It's a big call.
Not Sean Hutchinson, no?
No, I don't think Hutchinson is. I think Hutchinson should have. I think Hutchinson should be sold.
Not Biakowski, no?
Well, Bart's 35, Mike. We've got to move on. This is what we're saying. It's done. This side is the end of its thing, and we've left it too late. You can't replace 8 players a year. It doesn't work.
No, but there's the challenge for the manager, for the recruitment team, and Michael. Now's the time to show themselves. I mean, I understand Harry's feelings, at the moment because I think we could barely muster an 11-man side with maybe an old school one substitute sat on the bench at the moment. But there is work to be done, and it is a big opportunity, stroke challenge, stroke risk, I suppose. I mean, I'm reading of names. I don't know the boy from Aberdeen, Ferguson, Lewis Ferguson, supposed to be going all out after this. One of the downsides of age, listeners, as I've said already, is that you've heard all this before. But so we'll see what we get. Talk of Oliver Burke coming in. I don't mind Burke. I think but we do need more than just those two, Michael. Early to be calling problem season ahead, but we've got to get some action soon, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But without trying to poke the bear, 2005 ain't gonna happen again. It won't. We're too well run behind the scenes. We've got too experienced a manager. I think with that we had our fingers burnt badly, so I don't think we'd allow ourselves to get in that position again. Not saying next year won't be difficult. I think, as I said in our chat, boys, that everyone, yes, we offered Jed this great deal to stay, and we wanted him to stay ideally, but there is no way that us as a club, no matter how sort of sentimental we are, Nick, and I do appreciate your point, but there's no way, if there was any inkling that he was going to go, that Rowett and Aldo and all those behind the scenes would have gone, right, we just need to start looking for a replacement. The issue is the replacement and the players who come in, right?
Mm.
The problem we've got, and talking about the players who we had before, and again, listener, if you're under 25, my biggest issue, Nick, is you said about having a small squad at the moment, but I'm sure on the other foot, we don't want a 30-man squad. We want basically the best we can get. The issues we had before was we had Steve Morrison in his prime, left to go to Norwich. We replaced him with Darius Henderson. We had a lot of decent players, sort of like the Tim Cahills, didn't really replace him. Darren Ward, the season that he went, I think we replaced him with a young, inexperienced Paul Robinson. My issue is recruitment. We say every single season. We said at the beginning of the last season just gone, and the one before when we was looking up slightly, that recruitment is key to get us to the next level. Recruitment is key to keep us competitive in this division. Not pushing for the top 6, but Jed is too creative a player. And again, I'm not saying he's the most important player we ever had, or all this crucial he is to us in our 130-year history, or whatever long we've been around. But we need a player who will be that spark, who can drag people
I agree.
up if we are playing bad. Because it was always the cliche, when Jed Wallace plays bad, Millwall play bad. So as you say, Harry, it could be a leadership thing where some players now step up to the plate. But my priority at the moment is getting someone. Yes, you will not be able to replace a player with that quality, but get as close to it as you can within your budget.
I mean, Harry, one thing I wanted to say to you is Jed developed. I mean, we can all remember when Jed first came to us, a couple of loans initially. I think he was, was it Paul Pompey he came from, or was it Wolves? Wolves, sorry, yeah. So anyway, the Jed that we are losing, it was not the Jed that we saw at the start. He developed. And I think that's got to be key for us, because we do have some talented boys. Joking aside about the thinness of the squad, we do have some skilled players. We do have the likes of Tyler Bury, who I think
at the moment.
At the moment. We'll see who else comes in. But it's that Jed flowered over those 6 years and he improved. And the crucial thing that I thought he developed was a willingness to take a risk on the field of play, to use his skill and be prepared to make an error, because that's actually quite a big thing. Most players play within they shit a shell, don't they? They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to get stick from the crowd, and they don't want to hear it from the manager. Whereas Jed, I think, gradually developed a persona that he could and was trusted to play the long ball, to take the chance, to do the odd move here and there. I do see it in the players. I mean, we're talking about bringing Burke back. We'll see who else we bring in over the weeks ahead. But I think that we do need that spark. Michael's right. We're losing a creative, and we need to find it quite quickly. We as a crowd, as a Millwall crowd, have got to be prepared to watch some errors in order to watch players develop a little bit. I don't know that we'll get that patience, but that's the price.
Well, you're saying about a creative, and I think just to stay where we are, we still only got one right back. We still only got one left back that's fit.
Yeah.
We've lost the centre half. we've lost the centre forward, and we've lost our best player. You've got to replace some of that.
From that, it's going swimmingly.
Exactly, and that's not me. That is fact. I'm not trying to.
No.
I don't want us to be.
And Zach Lovelace is talking about going to Rangers.
Well, no, that's done. That is 100% done. That like Millwall versus Rangers. Like, oh yeah, Champions League football. Morales gets fucking red carded every 3 weeks, so he'll be playing. Don't worry about that. You know, it's.
I want to take my hat off to interrupting you. I want to take my hat off to Joe Zampa. He messaged me, and I love this one about what does Benik Afobe see in playing for Bruges, Champions League lifestyle, decent food, decent beer. I don't know. You know what does Zach Lovelace see in Champions League, European based
challenging for Scottish Premiership
Rangers?
titles.
I don't know. I mean,
doesn't he want an April trip to Blackpool?
So hats off there, Joe.
All I will say to Joe is I reckon Bennett's going for those Christmas markets because they're not too shabby.
Has Bennett not seen the sweet shop on Ilderton Road? I mean, you know, we can do beer and sweets, Harry, can't we?
Yeah,
the ancient Foresters. What's wrong with the Foresters?
Is that the only thing? Is that the only thing we can actually offer? Is literally we could offer
a sweet
beer
shop next door to the Foresters. If that's what he's after.
Who wants Leffe and Belgian chocolate when you can have Stella and wine gums?
And you've got a curry house over the road. Anyway,
yeah, you can go to the curry den for up to date cuisine. I am shocked. I am shocked that they haven't gone to Derby yet. I'm really shocked. I mean, the right back at Derby is supposed to be like some world beater, Nathan Byrne.
Well,
I've not even paid attention to him because I think Danny Mack's pretty decent. But going back to what Ryan
he does need
said
competition, though, Harry.
Yeah, that's it.
All players need competition.
Well, it's not just that. It's, you know, Millwall luck will be. I know you said about Bart. Another thing is literally. We haven't had, and this is the thing, we've had injuries, but we haven't had injuries to like unreplaceable players like in last season. They weren't right. So like,
yeah, but we did. Jed Wallace, he was injured in January.
Yeah, but Jed Wallace wasn't playing particularly well in January when he got injured, and Tyler Bury had fucking 6 weeks where he played like Jed Wallace. Like that's, and he's gone out of form. I'm not turning around and saying it, but there is a reason why Premier League teams are looking at Tyler Bury. It's not because he's shit. The difference is that Mason Bennett is as good as Jed Wallace on his day. Problem is Mason Bennett sitting 60 minutes running around getting injured because that's what he does, right? These players are going to be the ones that we're going to replace these players with are going to be flawed because we can't afford to. We are shopping in Poundland. We don't shop in Marks and Spencers. That is our transfer policy. We go to fucking B&M bargains and try and get the good shit. We don't try and get the little broken biscuits. And sometimes we end up with a broken biscuit. Scalak was a broken biscuit. Fucking Abu Fafana all them years ago was a broken biscuit. So was Juan, right? And this is half the joy of being a Millwall fan, is that you know that for every little bit of hope and every little incy bitsy step that we take up the table and we get there, you know there's going to be a massive fucking snakes and ladders moment where it all goes to shit. And it could be this season. It might be next season. Rowett might be the first Championship manager to get sacked. We might win the league. Who knows? That is where we're sitting at the moment because we are batshit crazy. That's what we do.
I'm loving this quote. Aaron's just put it on the group chat, listeners. I'll share it with. I don't know who this person is. DSX, Mike. I've never heard of DSX. Sounds like a delivery service. DSX. He's replying to Millwall FC and Tom Bradshaw. And his DSX says, "No one likes us. You'll be surprised at who likes you. We shall rise like lions after slumber in the unvanquishable number. We are Millwall. We don't care. God likes you." That's good enough for me, DSX.
Is that one of the Kenyans?
If he's signing, if God's signing,
can he play right wing?
If God's on our side, mate, I'm happy. It'll be some.
It sounds like one of them crusaders from sort of like the 10th century, it's like standing outside the gates of Jerusalem.
Some work by Aldo if he brings God in the part of the squad. I will take my hat off to the boy.
Aldo announces
that is some football manager spreadsheet you're working from there, Aldrich. I'll tell you that much.
Can't play Sundays though.
Achtung, Millwall.
let's move along. When I suggested, we were sat around the Curry House table last week, listening, I said to the boys, I haven't done a show for a while, and someone messaged me privately and said, "Are you doing a show?" I thought, "Ain't nothing to talk about, really." I'm glad we've got something to talk about, but I hung it on this, which was the always exciting fixture release day. I don't know why you get so excited over it. Do you get excited over it, chaps? Do you get excited over fixture?
Are we playing everyone home and away?
Michael, do you get excited over fixture release day? I do irrationally.
Only with me, I only get excited when, depending on who, as silly as it sounds, who's in the division that season. I think the last couple of years where we've had, and yeah, like no one likes talking about them, and they think they're this big club and all that, but where there's been sort of like no leads, sort of.
No, we've got no one exciting this season. No.
Yeah, it's the classic. You look at first day for me in my house. It's first day of the season, Boxing Day, January, New Year's Day, end of the season, and then if we've got a Leeds, if we've got or if a Newcastle went down, I'm not even excited about the teams who went down. To be honest with you, I couldn't give a toss when we play Burnley.
I'm really looking forward to our annual trip to get fucking beat in the last 10 minutes at Norwich in September. I'm really looking forward.
Fairly early, doesn't it?
That'd be crushing disappointment early doors. Get out of the way.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to most of all? The season, the fixtures coming out on the Thursday, and by next Tuesday it's changed 15 times because of TV and international and cup and all that. So, breaking news: Millwall against Bristol City will now be on a Tuesday morning from Saturday at 3.
Birmingham versus Millwall will be moved to 9 a.m. on the Hebrides.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I was getting all excited, and then it pops up as we're playing Stoke on opening day 30th.
There you go.
It's actually really not very exciting at all.
Then we go to Sheffield United. When they're winning 3-0 on the first day of the season, and they're singing Gary Rowett, your football is shit to us, and we're sitting there in a post-Jed slump and going, fucking hell, this is gonna be a fucking long season, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, that God on the right wing's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
there's a few miracles needed.
He needs to part the waves.
I was really struck looking at the fixtures, how hard it would have been to do a whole podcast, listeners, talking about fixture release day. Actually, it's one of those things that promises much excitement and then actually fades really quickly when you get it. So
I haven't even looked at it.
Like fish and chips. Fish and chips are always more exciting in the prospect than the eating.
I'll have a look.
When have we got Sunderland? When we got Sunderland?
We play them in September, I think.
Away.
Yeah.
Oh fucking hell, that's great. I've never been that far north.
There we are. Fixtures are out, listeners. Check the new website, chaps. I don't know. Have you looked at the new website? That's the best. Is that the best signing we've made all season? A new website design. We will have. They're coming.
They're made by They're made by
the record signing. This kid from Aberdeen's bringing it down in his car. He's going to bring all the new shirts with him. Apparently, he's part of the deal.
Does he drive a Lexus or a Saab?
He's driving a van.
Are we mentioning the the usual pre-season of Dartford?
Yeah, we're playing.
Who else is missing off that delightful tapas board of smorgasbord of amazing football?
I haven't looked at the actual full.
You know what? I normally go and watch one. You know what? They're disgusting me so much at the moment that I generally might not turn up. I might not turn up. I mean, the fucking Jed leaving video.
Fucking hell, Colchester's at home and all, isn't it?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Is it?
What are we doing?
This to whet your palate. All around the world, we get listeners for this show. So wherever you are, from Bombay to Santa Fe and the Yucatan to Milan, this is the glittering tapas on offer at Dartford at the Prince's Park Stadium. Michael, you know that.
It's only about 2 miles up the road. I'll go.
Harry, look, Colchester at the JobServe Community Stadium's calling out to you, mate. It's only up the road.
Oh, it is away. Sorry. Google lied to me.
No. We're not doing that.
A glittering home friendly against Ipswich. And then they're up against Stoke. That's not much. Not much to whet the appetite there, is there?
Where's this European game that we were promised?
I think it might be behind closed doors.
We've been banned for this European game.
It'll be behind closed doors, but they'll let the away fans in.
We're the only club that gets banned from Europe for what we might do rather than what we have done. We don't have to do it to get banned. So I don't think we're going to get any interesting
I'll tell you what,
Portugal to complain about.
Activity from this podcast
shower shit, honestly. Why do I do this to myself every year?
Why do I build
my hopes up? Why do I build my hopes up to have them smashed every sort of summer?
Well, the only way is up, to coin an old
fucking
song.
It was. My dad told me a story of that when they were in at the old Cobo Lane, and they were bottom of the first division the second season. and Yaz, the only way is up, come on. And I thought, Mr. Bye for Now has always had irony, hasn't he? Always
he
has
does
had
do
it.
irony. Yeah.
Fucking unbelievable. I wonder what he'll be playing on the first day back of the season. I don't know what if there are no new signings, what's he going to play? You can't always get what you want.
Well, I keep reading on the online about how we're getting dragged back to the 1970s, and we really will at Millwall. We've only got 11 players, and then the one substitute that will be being back in 1972 again.
This is going to do marvelous things for the winter of discontent down the den, isn't it? If we're going to have a second winter of discontent, Rail strikes, Millwall fucking bottom of the league with one try, and FA inquiries pending.
Come on, let's move on. Let's move on.
Move along. Not only do we have a new website, chaps, we also have a new Mill TV service. iFollow has been ejected from the Millwall table, and now we're going to have a new Mill TV service. I mean, a lot of clubs have been doing that last season. I actually thought
some money as well to do it as well.
Yeah, I suppose you can. I think I saw one team, and it might have been Derby actually. They had their own pre-match show. You know, like they're like a proper Sky Television BT Sports production. You know, whether we'll go that far, I don't
Who's going to get the Millwall presenting job? Aldo and Lurch.
I mean, if the club are looking for a TV presenter, I don't mind doing it. But we'll see. Other changes for the new season. As if we haven't had enough excitement with the signings that we've not made so far. We're going to be able to field 5 substitutes. We might not be able to make 5 subs, Harry.
We ain't got 5 subs to put on the bench. No, make 5 subs.
5 extra players over the 11. But yeah, apparently it's going to go back to I think the same, Michael, as we had during COVID. Which was like a choice of 5 from 7, I think it was, and you can bring them in at certain points.
A lot of these temporary things that came in for COVID, obviously the fans, it's one of the positives from the pandemic. So,
I like that. That's nicely done.
Hello, official referee Michael Avery there, quoting the FA.
I like that.
Do you know what it would be? The thing is, it isn't even necessarily the substitutions. It's the sort of 2 teams agreeing when you can bring the players on, because if it's that many subs at agreed times, it'll be a headache. But it's another thing that. But we'll be touching on changes to football rules again shortly as well, won't we?
They've done it in our Saturday league. They've put it forward 5 subs.
5 subs.
But Sunday league. Sunday league's been roll on, roll off.
But it's roll on, roll off. What they're saying is it was roll on, roll off, but you were only allowed to bring 3 extra players to roll on, roll off, rotate. Now they're saying you can bring 5 subs to roll on, roll off, which I don't get. Apparently it's to do with participation, but I have, how many captains are managers going to want to have to fuck about with 5 blokes on the sideline, like on, off, on, off, on, off. It's a headache. You don't want that. You don't want admin at football.
No, meant to be enjoyable. We'll see. I mean, I thought it just broke the play up to but so much of the modern game. We'll come back to the new rule changes, actually. So much of the modern game is about management of a game. I actually think that one of the big changes that never gets mentioned, but that should be made, Michael, we were talking about it on the group chat the other day, would be like they have in some, I think rugby league has something like an independent timekeeper, and they have like a clock that stops when the ball's out of play for any length of time. I'd love to see something like that in football, so that you can't manage a game, because I hate that. I hate it when we do it, and I hate it when other teams do it. I'd love to see something like a stop clock.
Really?
Stop.
I love game management. I think it's brilliant. I love the shithousery.
Yeah, but game management and like we use the Sunday League example, game management and booting the ball over a fence that's on a railway line is a bit of a different thing.
Well, it's a different level. I'm talking about Millwall. I mean, falling over to work the clock.
In the words of Neil Warnock, you've got to fucking die to get 3 points, right? That's all that matters, right? That's literally it.
No, you are right, Nicky. It would be interesting to see how that would work in the sort of pro game, because, like you say, how many times do you see someone go down holding their leg? And it's like a lot of these rules get brought in for the safety and the safeguarding of players across all levels. How many times do you see a player get clipped in the knee, goes down holding his head? The ref has to stop the game because he's holding his head, because you know, there could be that chance he's hit his head on the way to the floor, whatever. And then when you walk over to the player, he had his hands on his head because he was in so much pain from his leg injury. He went, "Oh, I'm all right now," you know. And
it makes a mockery of the game. I mean,
precisely, that's exactly my point. But if you stop the watch for those 3 minutes and actually had it on the screen, because that's what we were saying as well, like. They were saying about the independent timekeeper being off the field, and Ryan was saying about, you know, whether to have it on the big screen, anything like that. I think have it on the big screen so the play, even the
at
fans.
a professional level. If you can't do it on a Sunday game, you can't do it non-league, but you could do it at. We should be able to do it at the professional level.
I think if you're done for play acting, you should have to be off for as long as you receive treatment for.
Yeah, it's
so if you are play acting, like you said, Mike, if they remove a player from their team for the 3 minutes they were rolling around when there's clearly fuck all wrong with you, especially like when you see it on replays, probably would work more in the Premier League than our league because obviously we don't have VAR. But if that was to happen, it would stop people doing it because they know that they'd be down to 10 men for 3 minutes. That's the way to encourage it out the game, the fake conning of referees. It's the same with the diving idea. Like, it shouldn't, and I don't like it when they retrospectively punish someone. So, like, say they dive and they win a penalty in a game, and then they ban them for a game afterwards. The only game they should then be banned for is the next time that it should be the club that was, say someone dives against Millwall, and they are up against the team that we could do with the team that's just dived against us, beating another team the week after, and they're now not missing their star striker. It should be up to us to decide because we were the all party of when he takes his ban. So ideally, you'd want it next time he played you. Like, I don't understand. You when you get wronged, you should be the one. You should have the right to be righted.
Oh dear, the other one I'm not loving. I'm mixed on it. Is Arsene Wenger's idea, Michael, of having kick-ins rather than throw-ins? Arsene Wenger. I don't know. I mean, obviously, he's trying to encourage faster play. That's his idea. Rather than people taking their time over a throw-in. But the value of a kick-in, unless you really hem it in with some kind of distance that the ball's got to travel or can't travel more than, is that you get effectively given a free kick to a team, often in fairly dangerous situations, which is disproportionate to a throw-in. I know you can have a long throw, but that doesn't seem to have quite the value that a free kick would have from halfway inside your opponent's half onwards. You know, it becomes progressively more of a dangerous situation. In the name of speeding the game up, I found that an odd one. How did you see it as a referee?
As a traditionalist, no, you don't want to change it. But as a traditionalist, years ago, you didn't want to change the back pass rule or the throwing back to the goalkeeper or change. It's been integrated. It is what it is. I mean, it's a radical change.
Yeah,
the throwing rule. But it's like Arsene Wenger said with the stats. You know, I'm not sure exactly what he said. I think he said 8 out of 10. I don't think it's as high as 8 out of 10, but. Even though the sort of throw-in is a restart, which it is, it's not you've won it because you've been fouled or judged bad, or the other team's been judged badly by the referee, or it's an offside, etc. But it is a position where you are technically in charge of the ball, in control of the ball, attacking, should benefit from the throw because you've got it. But like Wenger's example, if you've got 10 outfield players, one of you is off the pitch while the throw's being taken, so you're already at disadvantage because you're a man short, you know, as soon as the throw-in's taken.
Yeah.
I don't think anything in football is appealed for and penalised as often as a foul throw. I don't think there's as many ways to... When you take it... So basically, if you've got a free kick, you have a free kick, you kick it. If you've got an indirect free kick, you've got to kick it as long as it don't go in. Same with a corner. As long as it doesn't go off, it's fine. You with a foul throw, you've got to watch your feet, you've got to watch your arms, you've got to watch your feet on the line, you've got to watch how far behind the ball it goes, you've got to worry about the trajectory, you can't just throw it up, it's got to go forward.
Yeah.
For something that's meant to be an advantage, you've got a lot going against you, and it's the most appealed and scrutinised restart of a game in football, in my opinion, the throw-in. So if you look at it that way, what advantage do you get from a throw? Whereas if you could just put it on the floor and just pass it back to the player, you're still in possession, it's not scrutinised, the game restarts faster, and there on you go. Because even as well, if you look with throw-ins, if you look at a corner, yeah, fair enough, there's a mark where you take a corner, I get that. But how often in a game does someone take a free kick and they might nick a yard, but no one says anything? Someone takes a throw-in and they go up 2 or 3 yards up the line, everyone's screaming, he's got to go back, ref, come and move it back, he's gone too far. You've got the crowd getting involved. You've got a section of the game that's so scrutinised, but when you suggest taking it out of the game, it's so protected.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'm not saying it to be out of order to these divisions, because when you do grassroots football, you can argue grassroots football is more important than the Premier League when it comes to like developing game and things like that. But invite the option to introduce it to all leagues. Leagues decide whether they want to trial it, see how it goes for a year, get feedback, and then introduce it more and more and more and more. Don't force.
They've done it once before. They have done it.
Don't force the Dutch 4th division to do it or the Slovakian women's 3rd division to do it. Open it out to every division. Who would like to give it a try? And then we'll see.
They're trialling this in the Dutch 2nd division.
Oh, well,
I don't.
Yeah.
But it's going to be.
I'm a traditionalist. I think it's bollocks. I think all the.
So I've done that really long statement. You've just said it's bollocks, and that's it.
Well, no, I'll dive into why I think it's bollocks. Bollocks is part of football. If you want to police it differently, change the rules around throw-ins. Don't fucking change the throw-in. All the things that you've raised about you got to watch your feet, got to watch that. The amount of people that don't know how to take a throw-in, I'm telling you,
it's frightening.
Is absolutely fucking awful, right? Girls can't take them in my Sunday side. I think I've
Let's alienated our female market.
But they can't. And half the boys in my fucking tens team on a Saturday can't take them. So I'm not pretending like it's not a problem. But if both teams are constantly giving foul throws, I expect the referee to turn a blind eye and fucking let them both take foul throws. So they're not gaining an advantage from it. Because I had one passage of play last season where the referee changed possession of the throw-in 4 times in about 60 seconds. It was like foul throw, change, foul throw, change, foul throw, change, foul throw, change. And there's nothing more embarrassing than that. So I totally get your point, but it's part of football. And if we're going to start changing football, then, should we ever have a draw for the TV spectacle? Should all games have to have a winner? Should we just play overtime? Do you know what I mean? Like, once you start messing with the very fabric of football, then, it's a slippery slope. I like football as it is, and that's why it's the most watched sport in the world.
Interestingly, I'm just looking at the Guardian article. I sent a link round on our group chat, listeners. I'm just reading through it as Harry's talking, but they're also talking about the stop clock as another thing that will be trialled at some point. But 2 statistics here, boys. I mean, data showed that the ball was actually in play, i.e. in active play in the Premier League for 55 minutes and 3 seconds during the 21-22 season, and Champions League, same 56 minutes rather than 55. So I think there's changes afoot. I don't like the kick-ins. I do like the idea of stopping the clock when. I mean, my own personal pet hate, boys. I've mentioned it loads of times, and listeners will be turning off in their droves. We'll be losing listeners faster than Millwall losing players. But I hate the amount of time they take to reform after scoring a goal. At least a minute's got to be taken up with celebrating and patting everyone on the back and running back, and that stuff like that. Needs to be dealt with. Enough lecturing. One last thing before I let you go, chaps. Did anyone see the Australian goalkeeper in the World Cup playoff doing his antics on the goal line? Another thing I hated to see. It was perfectly legal, but he was moving side to side, pulling kind of strange, like you'd taken some bad shit at a rave or something, and he's doing some kind of like Twizzle with a kind of stick man dancing around, and it proved to be effective because I don't want to lose our Australian listeners too. I mean, Aussie are in the World Cup, so well done to Australia. But I couldn't bear to have that goalkeeper in my goal if I was an Australian fan. Albeit it was effective. I don't know if either of you saw it, the shootout. Or
I saw what he was. I did see what he done, and he also lobbed the Peruvian. Was it Peru? Did they play? He
slung his water bottle, which I think he had the list of the penalty takers.
It's great.
I'd less of a problem with that. That is, I mean, as you said, all shithousing, Harry. That's. I don't mind that. I don't know where that irrational decision comes from in my mind, but the dancing backwards and sideways, to and fro sideways. I don't know. I just made a. I've used the word already. I'll use it again, listeners. Made a mockery of the situation and the game. I think we've probably reached the end of my list of talking points here, chaps. Did anyone want to say anything before we close out? Anything I haven't included on my list of interesting things to talk about on this Jed Wallace departure day?
I'm looking forward to the club shop's new website. If then the current club one is good.
The Hummel gear. The players are in their new Hummel training shirts. Which,
Oh yeah, let's talk about the luminous. We won't lose Gary Rowett in the dark top.
No, but we might pass it to a steward, thinking like having some kind of Freudian slip.
They looked all right. I mean, I've never bought anything like that, so I probably won't, listeners. But I thought they looked all right.
I could imagine you wearing it to a 90s rave, Nick.
Oh, hang on a minute.
With my glow sticks. I don't need a glow stick. I just need a mill shirt.
Fluorescent choker.
Just for the listeners, I've just gone on the website. Due to our new partnership with Hummel, lowercase h, is that right? Even though
probably is.
Probably
is.
Yeah.
It's a Danish company, isn't it?
Yeah, we are upgrading our website. We'll be ready for kickoff on the 1st of July at 9 o'clock. I bet that's delayed.
That's
is that a bit like these? We're looking to get our business done early.
Yeah, and also as well, a former Millwall player. Good luck to Steve Morrison, who may have to manage Gareth Bale next season.
That's going to be an interesting conversation, isn't it? Where's it going to be? Golf,
Wales golf, and then Cardiff. Stand in his pantheon.
Mate, Marlon Romeo passing the ball to Gareth Bale. Things I never thought I'd see.
There we are, listeners. I think we really have exhausted my very flimsy list of talking points for a Midsummer Misery show. Huge thank you to Woebegone Warren. Thank you, Harry.
No problem. Horrific,
Harry. And a big thank you to miserable Michael Avery. Thank you.
Keep the faith, dear listener. We'll be all right. I said that before Donaghy took over.
18th is success.
18th is success. Listeners, you're well out of our group chat with Harry's miserable predictions where we're going to finish. 18th is as good as it gets for him. I'm going to wait to see these mega signing club record signings.
I'm saying at the moment, I am open to moving that on a sliding sort of door scale, like the swingometer when you have a parliamentary election, when you end up with Dimbleby going, "Oh, this is the exit poll." At the moment, the exit poll is saying it's very, very bad.
You wait till we snap up Messi and Mbappe up front on our club record signings.
Yeah, we'd get bought by some sheikh just on the eve of the season.
Human rights monsters.
Abuses, yeah. Goes, I like what the club's values are. I like what the values of the support is.
Here's a couple of billion quid and we will compete. Yeah. Big thank you, boys. Thank you, listeners. We'll be back again when there's anything to talk about. Until then, Arrivederci Mill and bye for now.
You have been listening to Achtung, Millwall. Please do leave us a review at Apple Podcasts. Dankeschön. Up the lines.